So here's a word for you. It's called buffer. Buffering. Does anybody know what buffering means? I mean, I've been playing with buffers for the last, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, trying to get my buffers right so I can get my audio synced up and everything else. There's just too much technology happening behind the scenes. But hey, that's what happens. So I'm playing with my buffers. It's a marketing made easy Tuesday, May 24th. Welcome to the show. My name is Joey Ragona. It's good to have you here. We do everything different on this show. Be prepared for it because we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of cool stuff today about getting your work down 96% so you can only do 4%, but maximize that 4% to 10x your business, whatever it's going to look like. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll bring in my good buddy Scott Vogel because he's waiting to talk and say hi to everybody. Welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you. I love it, man. Thank you. We got some peeps in the house already. Thank you for being here live. Teen is in the house. If you are with us, if you can let us know by hashtag live or you're watching on the replay, let's put that out right now. Hashtag replay because I like going back just to see what the ratios are, and it would be awesome to let us know. No sound for Scott. That's not good. Hmm. I I I hear him. Hey, Petra, can you hear Scott? Because I must be doing. Let me see, Scott. Say something, and like I want to see. We didn't check the audio on. I got you. I got the interviewer coming through here. So, mm, I I've got audio coming through here. I can see the audio coming through, and I hear you. And I don't know if it's going through to the Facebooks. Let us know if you. Scott is mute for us. Hmm. Wow. Tell you what, it's probably not your fault. It's probably because of me. Can you just log out and come back in, and then that'll probably fix the problem. I'm gonna bring Scott back in. So, uh, Scott's just moving his lips. It's probably on the technology side. We were messing around with the technology just before this, and that's what happens. So, all right. So let's bring Scott back in. Uh, 1 second. All right, give it another shot, buddy. I hear you perfectly fine, and I see that there's audio going out into. Let's see here. Let's make sure that I've got my settings exactly right. Um, audio.
Facebook user, and I'm looking in both groups. I don't know where that other Facebook. We don't.
Okay, so what about now? Like I just switched the microphone. I think it was my fault. It's always my fault. So there's too much size on this one.
It's hear you. Can you hear?
There we go. Got you. We got you, buddy. It's my fault. Totally my fault.
There I am, Joey, Mr. Technology. Strikes.
We fixed the technology. So I want to give just started working now. It's all good. We're here to talk about hopefully we're going to talk about the 4%. We're going to talk about 96% reducing your workload and what you're doing and making it a lot easier for you. And so we've talked about the 4% multiplier before in episode 69, I believe it was. So we're a little bit over, or is that almost half? I don't know. Math is not an exact science for me, but it's somewhere close to half of where we are today, 121, right? So I figured we'd just bring the topic back up again, but talk about it from another perspective, and like just open up the conversation to see like what you're doing now. I know you're changing the way that you're doing things and what you're doing, and you're not like, um, 24/7 trying to create and release products all the time. And it just sparked an idea again, because I've had quite a few conversations in the past week since last time we spoke on last Tuesday, about this. And like people were always asking, what's the difference and what do I do? And not me personally, but like, how do I make it easier for people? And that's one of the biggest selling points is like reducing all of the stuff and the overwhelm and the technology and all the funnels and all that stuff, and not being on 24/7, um, you know, social media, and still being able to build the business. And I have a lot of amazing humans that are coming into my world that have a life, believe it or not, and they
Yeah,
don't want to be stuck in technology or doing exhausting launches and filming and all these other kind of things, and they want to live a life. So it just, again, just sparked an idea to let's talk more about this, because I don't think we talk enough about it.
I agree. I don't think we talk enough about it. And one of the biggest pieces, Joey, that I'm seeing all the time is that it's the overwhelm. It's all the things I have to do. I was on a call today, and the first thing that they wanted to do was, oh, I got to create a course and I got to go record this and I got to do this. And I'm like, hold on, whoa, 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 back up. What can we give them in the beginning that's easy, simple, that you already have? What's the next thing we can give them that's easy and simple? And then what's the next piece that you've already got? And I don't know where it comes from. The mindset is, well, I got to build a website. I got to build landing. I've got to build this, and I got to build all these pages. I was like, no, 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 no. It goes back to what we talk about is have a Google Doc with a link in it and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. And it took me an hour to convince this individual that you really up talking about Holly, actually. So there she is. And it was like, okay, we don't need to, Holly. It's there she is.
Call it. I'm
All
surprised that Hollywood still think that she needed to do all that. She's like an Atlas graduate. She knows you don't have to do all that crap.
she is, but again, it's a lot of time. It's the mindset of I got to build this course and I got to build this and I got to have all this stuff and I got to. And that wasn't the only call. I was on another call
Yeah.
after that I jumped on, and it was the same thing. It was like, well, keep it simple. And then they're like, they wanted to go into the complication of, well, I'm going to go here and then I'm going to sell something. I was like, no, you go here and then what else can you give them? It's like that. I want to give them this and I want to give them this and I want to give them this. I was like,
You got to come to more of the the cohort so I can help you with simplifying it, Holly. That's my job. Yeah, don't revert back to all that other stuff, because it's, you talk a lot about burnout, Holly. That's like your biggest thing. And that's what you're doing to yourself, trying to figure out all this other stuff. It's really simple. That's what I want to talk about today. Not specifically about like, what to do with a funnel and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk about like the time and stuff that you're doing to reduce it, Scott, and everybody else, like, or where your challenges are. If you could let us know in the chat, that would be helpful for us, and we can quote unquote diagnose or help you maybe get into momentum or reduce some of the stuff, because I'm constantly talking about this within my mastermind groups and even in my coaching things where people are like 1,000 times smarter than I am, and it's always about saying no. And not I just find that we don't say no enough. I do. I'm starting to say no a lot, but I still see a lot of people in my circle who are afraid to say no, and I don't know why. And so I wanted to bring that out into today's conversation of why we're always constantly saying yes, yes, yes. And because you're saying yes, but you're saying no to the wrong things, which is your family, your life, your time freedom, your sanity, your energy, all that stuff. Um, so with that in mind, are you like, is there any tips or anything that you are doing, Scott, to reduce time, or are you still like slammed to the wall trying to get things done?
oh no, I'm not slammed to the wall anymore. No, that's over. I'm not doing that anymore. Now it's about doing what I love doing. It's about superpowers. It's about, I wrote some copy for a client a couple of weeks ago and it did amazingly well for them. And it's like, dude, I need you to write more copy. I'm going to send you some money, and I need you to put some time aside next week to write copy. To me, I know to you, Joey, writing copy is what I love to do, and it comes easy to me. It's not a struggle. It's not building a landing page and building the copy and launching the next thing. It's getting back to what I like doing. And it is saying no to some things that I don't want to do anymore.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that yeah, and Lorna, I know that you have trouble saying no. And Lorna's in one of my private mastermind groups, and we talk about this all the time. And it's just the nature of the beast. That's what we do. It's so hard to say no. But I found that the more I do say no, the more it opens the doors for opportunities for dream clients to walk in, whatever it is, even saying no to clients that are not fits. These are all things in areas where if you want to reduce the workload that you're doing, is a work with dream clients, people that don't drain your batteries and want a lot from you, and that's easy for you to transform. That's the biggest thing. That's one of the things we can discuss, I guess. But it's really about looking at the I think that most the way we position things that come at us, we position them as opportunities, but they're not. They're distractions, and it
Mm-hmm.
pulls us off course. And in the past couple of years now, I just looked at I'm just doing these two things, and that's it, and that has served me well, and it's also reduced the time that I spend, as you know, in what I do, and I get to just live a great life in terms of time freedom. And I think that's the most important thing is to start building time freedom like right now. So I'd like to hear, from the crew, from the tribe who's here right now, like if you could get rid of one thing, what would it be? If you could type it in the chat, what's the one thing that you would just want to get rid of from your day?
Joey, as we are waiting for the answers to come in, I'm going to give you an example of this because you were kind of involved. A buddy of mine asked if I wanted
Oh,
to,
right.
you know, uh, he bought a bright shiny object, and I'm going to call him out on it when I talk to him. He bought a bright shiny object, and he's already got bright shiny objects, and he's already bought a bunch of stuff, and he bought this thing which was learning how to podcast. And
Yeah.
he's a marketer, so he bought into the marketing language and he jumped on it, and in it he got a second ticket to attend. And he approached both of us. And I looked at it and I said, I would like to know more about podcasting, but it's a bright, shiny object. It would take me away from my focus right now, which is getting out my opt in method, the landing page opt in formula, and anything associated with that. So anything that pulls me away from that is a bright, shiny object. And I wanted to do it, but it was a 3-day commitment, 8 hours a day. And I'm like, what could I do with those 8 hours to further what I'm doing? And I said, no. And I said, what do you think? And you said, I got too much going on. Great. One day, maybe, but not right now. And I think that's an important piece. And another thing, Joey, that you and I have talked about was we're talking about saying no in business. You know that I had somebody in my life recently who drained me, like
Yeah,
was
for sure.
draining. And I basically said to this person, you are draining me. I cannot continue, and I will not continue to move forward when I'm drained all the time. And whether it's a business, personal, friendship, if it's not filling your bucket, then that's hurting that whole 96%. So I know we have some comments, so go.
Yeah. And congratulations. Oop, there's the one I wanted. So Anne said no today, provided a client with a refund. She's not ready for coaching. That's amazing. And the more I talk with her, the worse I felt because I can't get her results based on where she's at. That's beautiful. Like, it's knowing what your superpowers are and working with the right people that if you just sprinkle the magic dust, then they will transform. And that's what it's all about. Making it easy on you, making it easy on them. And when it's easy on you, you're able to transform people a lot faster and a lot easier and put your energy into them because they know when you're drained. Like you can show up on Zoom or whatever and pretend that you're not drained. They can see it, they can feel it, and So this is good for everybody. And so
Yeah.
congratulations, Anne. Thinking about it, Lorna says, thinking about planning, preparing, and cooking meals and snacks, wanting to get rid of those. And here's a good point. I'm glad you brought this up, Lorna, because as you know, Scott, like I'm trying to build teams and all this other stuff and delegate more. And I was going through, book Perry Marshall was really rereading some of his stuff, and there was a part in it where he's talking about VAs and all that. And again, like it's always starting with the $10 tasks or whatever. And no disrespect to anybody with that, but it's more of hiring out the stuff that is more household related, cleaning your clothes, cooking, going shopping. Like shopping takes like 4 hours of your day, 3, 4 hours of your day. If you can get somebody to do that, then great. That's what the delegation is. Like I've recently started um, using Amazon as my personal assistant, setting up, you know, regular stuff for the cat. The cat litter comes automatically every month. The toilet paper, the tissue stuff. Yeah, we can go to Costco and buy it, but that's time out of our day. When you have this personal assistant ready to go, set up, you got Prime, there's no charge for the thing. And now you've got these things coming at you. And that's one of the ways I've begun to delegate all of these little things that, again, buys me back time, buys my wife back time. Lissandro is talking about community manager stuff. Can you expand on that, Lissandro? And we can help you out there. Like, what are you doing in terms of community manager? Like, are you talking about your Facebook group? And Scott helped me simplify the opt-in page, lead magnet. Cool. We talked about doing a video, and while I got that going, he just explained to people that they could do it for me. No video. Just ask for to provide some info. Super simple. If people provide me with the info, then they know they're action takers, which means they could be a dream client. I think she's talking about the opt-in or whatever.
Yeah, I think she's talking about the opt-in on the page and making it simple so that if they do opt in, well, then they're action takers and they want to move forward to the next step after they've gotten something of value, a gift, and say, hey, if you want more stuff, and that takes her time away from having to get on calls. And I like what Ann said earlier too, Joey, about I was on with somebody, and no, Holly, it's not you. I was on with someone last week, and I had somebody in my office who said, well, are you going to work with her? I was like, no. Well, why not? I said, because A, it doesn't feel right. And B, I know that no matter what, it was going to be too difficult a task. And that comes out. If I don't love what this person's doing, if I don't believe in it, and I don't believe that they're going to do, now when I bring somebody on, it's like, you've got to agree that you're going to do what we agree to do. And if we meet and you haven't done it, then you're wasting both of our time. And so I only want to take on people that I know, as it was said here, are action takers. And you're the same way, Joey, is if somebody isn't going to do it, then at the end, they're going to want a refund. They're not going to get the results. And they're going to call you, well, he's no good. But the people that are willing to do what it takes are going to end up saying, hey, this was a great experience. This worked out well. And that goes back to where you're investing your time. And if you're only investing your time in people that are going to do and show up and do the work, then it gets so much easier because you're like, okay, you did this, now do this, now do this. And we got on a call. She got her time with me. She made the changes, and now things are getting much simpler. Somebody gets into Atlas and they look and they do, and all of a sudden it's like, this is easier now. Life is easier rather than, I got to go out and get this client because I need the money. And then the amount of time, effort, and energy that you put in. And sometimes saying no is difficult in order to get to what's behind the no.
Is there any tips you have for saving time?
To me, your tips are things I've used for years, which is finding people to do the little tasks and automating things as easy as possible. And I don't mean automating email sequences and all that. I'm talking about the personal stuff.
Yeah.
How can you make it where you don't have to. And I'll give you an example, Joey, and it goes to the whole yoga piece. You know, when I do yoga, obviously I do hot yoga, and in hot yoga, it requires a yoga towel, a yoga mat, and a shower towel. I have always, when I go to a studio, say, how much will it cost me for you to give me my mat, my towel, and my yogi toe? So that when I'm done, I throw it in a bin and I'm done with it. Because to me, it doesn't make sense to have to spend hours a day lugging things around, washing them, drying them, remembering all that. It's like, show up. And same thing with you and Amazon. There are certain things that I'm like, okay, send it to me on a regular basis. That's quick and easy because I don't, I could go run to this store or that store. Things like ink and things like my soda stream and things like my Nun tablets, they just come on a regular basis because I know. And automating those things as much as possible. I still love to do my shopping because that's
cool. Yeah, I'm not saying for everybody, but
no.
It still takes time out of your day, right? But if you like doing that, that's cool.
Yeah, and you know that I like to find people to do some of the little tasks that I don't like to do, whether it's, setting up pages or setting up certain things that I could find somebody to pay 20, 25 bucks an hour rather than me spending the time.
Right. Okay, so let's go back here. What do we got here? Take this off. Social media creations, however, love communicating, of course. So you want to get rid of that, the social media creations. These are all easy tasks to delegate. Very easy tasks. And what I learned in delegating stuff like this, here's what was my block. I don't know if this is for anybody else, but what my block was, okay, well, I've got these tasks, let's call it social media creations or whatever, and I need someone else to do this, but I don't have the budget, or there's not enough for them to do. Whatever. And let's call it $25 an hour and whatever. Right. And so what helped me do that, instead of budgeting, I don't know, $500 a month or something for that, when it's stressing me out to try and fill that person or to figure it all out, was just to hire somebody for a couple of hours a week. That was it. And I got over, again, this was my mastermind group. My group who helped me see this, was that you don't have to have this person just hired as a team member. Like, there are people who can put you into their schedule. Like, okay, it's Wednesdays at 2 to 4. I'm working for Joey. Like that, and I'm like, oh my God. It's so obvious, but to me it was like, that where am I going to get somebody who only work for 2 hours when they need to make money? But there are people who do the piecemeal kind of stuff and they have a full-time job doing it. So I don't know if that'll help anybody.
I'm going to share with you an example that I had a call from a buddy this morning, and he shows me a Zoom screenshot of 9 people on a meeting.
Yeah.
And I was invited to the meeting. I just didn't know about it. And he goes, what do you think this is a screenshot of? I was like, maybe one of your programs? No. Well, maybe it was the Zoom Live that I wrote the email copy for? No. He goes, it's my new team. It's like, excuse me? He says, yeah, I just got 9 people on my team for free. I was like, excuse me? In LinkedIn, he got some message from LinkedIn and he was able to do some kind of ad. And he went and posted and he said, I have a successful business, this and that, and I'm looking for people who want to work for me for free for this opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. And all over the world, he got 200 replies of people that wanted to get the experience.
Yeah, I know about that. There's a website as well that has that. That you can hire people for free. They'll do it. They're like internships or whatever they're called, like apprenticeships, like whatever it is, and they do it for free. Yeah, that's totally, it's very cool.
It blew me away because he went through each of the people, and one of the guys was like this computer programmer, data PhD D-level dude who wanted an internship in order to get something that he could get from this. And to me,
Right.
it was because I know a lot of us are like, well, I can't afford to hire somebody. I don't have that. It's great you're talking about this. And there are people out there that are willing to help out and do things for the experience of working with someone. Again, it goes to we are further along than a lot of people. And I don't care who it is, but people in this tribe are further along than people just trying to get started. So there are people out there, whether it's mommy tracks, whether it's stay-at-home moms. Had a conversation last week with a gal whose husband in the military, and she wanted to participate in the family. So she started doing some VA work. And in the beginning, she picked stuff up for free to get experience. And there's people out there. Again, I'm not saying just go out and try and find people like that, but it exists out there. It's a thing that available opportunities until you can get some things going and then say, hey,
Yeah.
I can afford to pay you now.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing too is that the stuff that we don't like to do, there's somebody who loves to do that. Even if it's cleaning a house. Like there's people who just love it. And
There,
so you just have that in your mindset as well. Let me go back to these things here. What is it here? Lorna, I did say no to a 3-day opportunity that's coming up for the next couple of weeks. Yeah. That was a big thing. Like when your buddy approached me, it was the first thing I thought of was that is like,
yeah,
you know what? This is a great opportunity, but that comes back to what I learned from Rich Sheffrin many years ago, which I love talking about, which is the just-in-time learning or the just-in-case learning. And that's just-in-case learning. Like, yeah, I want to know a little bit about podcasts and how to do it later on too, a little bit better, but it's just in case. I'm not going
yeah,
to use it right now. And that's exactly what I told him. And he agreed. And he said, "This is just not it's not the right time for me to do this." And even if I spent those hours sleeping, it's better for me because I'm recharging. So this doesn't mean that you say no to an opportunity or something and replace it with work. And this is another big thing where entrepreneurs, I see it all the time, where they're like, "Well, if I get somebody to cut my grass or clean my house, what am I going to do? Like that would have been in my time. What am I supposed to do? Sit on the couch and do nothing?" Yeah, that's what you're
yeah,
supposed to do.
yeah. Joey,
Exactly.
I'll get back to I shared this. I think it was 2 Wednesdays ago. You know that on Wednesdays I like to do yoga twice. I do a noon yoga and I do a 5:30 yoga, and that's my day is scheduled around that. And there was a networking event from a guy that I respected, and I liked how everything sounded. And I gave up my Wednesday night yoga, and I really hated it. And I spent hours on that call. And it wasn't a just in case because it was a just in time to see if it made sense to network with people who I could share what I was doing with and they could share what they were doing with. And was that worth my time to invest in that? Yes, it was, because it hasn't totally turned out to money. I was able to make some connections and I was able to actually help some people in a way that I love doing. And
Mhm.
that filled my bucket. Whereas, like this other opportunity, I don't know that it would have filled my bucket. And years ago, I did a lot of that just in case stuff. I was like, yeah, I'd like to learn how to do that. I'd like to learn how to make this. And I'd like to, and now it's like, you know what? Unless it has relevance to what I'm doing, then no, it's not
That's
going
the
to.
point. It's just in time learning. And
Yeah.
it's like when I was in the real estate industry and teaching, real estate investors and all this, that's the biggest thing I'd always talk about. I'd usually always start my somewhere around the beginning to ask them, how many of you have a journal right now or notes? And they all put up their hands and I said, how many of you went to last week's notes and did what you wrote down? All the
Yeah.
hands went down. It's like all
Well,
they're
Joe,
doing is just absorbing information. And then guess what? It's the exact same thing in our industry right now in online marketing. Same thing. Let me learn
yeah.
about YouTube. Let me learn about this. Let me learn about that. Okay. Keep learning and don't
Yeah.
don't do anything.
Well, Joey, I remember, I don't know, a couple of months ago, you were starting to play with one of the social media platforms, and you looked at it and you played with it for a little while, and I think you was like, you know what, not right now. This is just
Yeah.
not.
Well,
I think it was.
TikTok was one of them. Like so, and I have a buddy who crushes it on TikTok, and he taught me exactly what to do with it. But then it got to the point where here's how you do this, and I'm like, if it's going to take me 6 hours to do a video like that to crush it on, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
that's just not what I want to invest my time in. So it's like, yeah, I learned it and like, okay, looked at the, and I'm out. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
and you know that I love video. That's one of my things. And the other day, I told you I did 27 videos and edited them. And the whole investment and the whole thing was a couple of hours. They were short videos. They didn't require editing because I was actually sharing something that I know about, which is how to record videos without having to edit them. And so it was a meta because it was like, okay, you know what? I just made a little mistake in that, but I'm not touching it because it's not a big deal. And so when you can do something good and get it done, go do it. For me to have hired that out and have somebody do it would have taken me a longer time just to explain it.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too. I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down because,
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. It's like, geez, I could do this in 3 seconds if I explained to somebody. But then there's that
right,
investment time of actually getting somebody on the team to do it, or what I do is record what I'm doing, and then they go watch it and follow the instructions. But
right.
anyway, um, so John, email sequences, that's an easy one. You can hire that out. There's some great copywriters in our tribe, and I'm sure somebody can help you with the email sequences. And if you want to expand on that one, we can help you there. But
Well,
that's an easy one if you want to get
Joey,
rid of
I'll
that.
here and say if I didn't know how to write email sequences, I'd hire it out because it takes a long time to write email sequences and figure out subject lines and get it right. It takes hours and hours and hours. But if you know how to do it, go hire somebody. And the money that it will save you and the money it will make you. I gave you the
Yes.
example earlier. The dude contacted me and says, I'm sending you money to write me another email sequence because he could write them. They won't work. He won't get them open and he won't make money. I write them, they get open, and he makes money. So why would he try and figure it out on his own or even go find somebody cheaper? He knows it works. And that's the same thing when we
Why would you
find out.
say it's somebody cheaper? I would double my price if I were you.
What I'm saying is there are people out there that would say, well, I'm going to go find somebody cheaper. That's all I mean.
Yeah. But yeah, just hire good people. I
Yeah.
mean,
Hire good people, pay them
hire
from the
good people that know what the hell they're doing because that's an investment in your business. It's not an expense. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's like they look at it as an expense, and it's really not because if it's going to bring you money, that's an investment in your business.
Here's what somebody said to me the other day, Joey, and I loved it. And it's so appropriate, especially for you. If somebody does not hire you or go into Atlas or WMC, I can guarantee that what they're doing will not work.
Yeah.
Can I guarantee what will happen will work? No. But I can guarantee if you don't do it, it definitely won't work. And the same thing was said was, look, I can't guarantee that copy will work. It usually does, but I can guarantee that if you don't get it done right, and I'm not saying me, I'll guarantee that if you don't get somebody to do the important things for you right, I'll guarantee it won't work.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Perry Marshall is a great read. I love Perry. Um, and sure, $10 task equal tasks that are low risk, and as the person proves themselves, you can always assign higher risk or more responsible stuff. I don't know about that because one thing that I learned, and I'm not arguing with you or debating it, I'm just saying that from what my understanding of these things is that there are two types of hires. One is brain hires, or people that can think for you, and there are teams and all this, and there's task hires, and the task hires are just those. And it's not that they're dumb people or anything, it's just that that's what they're good at doing, and they're not expected to do anything um thinking wise. And I think that's what I'm not saying that's what you're saying, and because I think it's more responsible, but I see a lot of this mistake where people hire a VA or something expecting them to run their marketing department. Meanwhile, the VA is just really good at posting stuff on social media, and that's their job. But they're not supposed to be thinking, what's the marketing look like? What's the copy look like? All that stuff. So there's a huge difference. And once we understand that, then your team will grow the way it's supposed to grow.
Joey, and I want to add to that, and that is huge because you and I see this all the time. My VA, the funnel didn't work that my VA built. The marketing campaign didn't work that my VA
Right.
is looking at the tasks. And I like to say in any group when somebody asks the question is, well, I'm looking for somebody to build X for me. Well, go find somebody that's built that thing that's worked similar to you. Well, if I go in and say I'm looking for somebody to build my landing page to promote my upcoming all women's conference, and I go in there and say, hey, I build landing pages, but I have no experience with all women's conferences, then I'm probably not the right fit. It's finding somebody with the right fit to the actual task that they can do exactly what you're looking for and not expecting them. It goes to expectation, Joey.
Yeah, and I think that when you build out this business, you're looking to delegate stuff. This again, just from my opinionated knowledge of it. So it's knowing when you hire somebody out like a VA or something. Let's say VA and to build the landing pages, go do this, and they're good at it. Then you give them the stuff to build. That's it. Here's the copy. Here's the pictures. Here's the thing. They go do the stuff. That's their
Yeah.
job. It's
Yeah.
not their job to figure out what to say and how to say it. But
No,
many people expect that, and they're
they
like,
do.
This didn't translate."
Didn't
Now, when you
work.
hire a marketing person, their job is to take marketing off of your hand. They do the thinking and all that. They build all the whatever, but and then their job is to hire all the other tasks underneath that. So they become the department, and that's where the brains comes in. That's where the difference here, from my understanding, is that when you hire or we hire a task-oriented person, we call it hands-on, like the hands person or the brains person. So the hands person always has to come back to you. Even though you're not doing the task, it has to come back to you to give them the check mark. That's good. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. But many people don't do that. They're like, why the hell didn't this get done? Why am I still being involved with this? Because you hired a hands person and you didn't hire the brains. And again, I'm not saying that people are dumb, right? It's just that that's what their job was, and they're expecting too much. Like you said, expectations.
Yeah.
When you hire out the brains, that's a really hard part. At least for me as an entrepreneur, like holy crap, that's really difficult because you're letting go a part of your business. You're saying you are the Facebook person, you go do that and run my Facebook ads, right? And then they hire all everything else underneath it. So they whatever it is, they do the copy, they do the thing, they do all that kind of stuff, and they have all the things underneath it. And that's the department that does it for you. So you have the brains, which is part of your team. So you have your team meeting, let's say 10 minutes a day. Say what's going on, give me an update. Um, and then I can also give a hiring tip if anybody wants a hiring tip on how to bring people on and test them out to get A players and C players. If you want me to let me know in the chat if you want that, just put A player or C player and I'll let you know. But that's how you do that. And then you have this team meeting or this huddle 10 minutes a day to see what's going on. And the team does most of the stuff for you. Right?
I agree.
Anything you want to add there?
No, I'm fully in agreement with that. You're spot on. I was just looking at a bunch of Lissandro's comments here.
Let's bring them up. Lissandro, want to read it, Scott?
Sure. Showing, doing lives, responding to comments, creating content, being a character of joy to entertain my audience. I'm out of focus. I think I have to go back to write poetry and research instead of giving content all the time. And then he's got a follow-up one that says, I am starting to lose my inspiration in selling because I get discouraged because I can't increase my tribe.
Yeah, I can help you with that. Definitely. But let's go back to this. Here's a quote. Yeah, I don't know if it really relates, but I'm going to say it anyway. I just heard it today on my coaching call from one of my friends, Peter, and he was referencing just a thing, and I wrote it down, and I don't know if it kind of relates, but I'm going to try to make it relate because it's really good. And this is because a lot of people that come into my world want to scale, right? They've already failed and they want to get going, but they want to scale. And I try to pull them back and like, you're doing this way too quick. And you know that I believe that one of the biggest problems in business is that you build too fast, and that's what kills the business,
Yeah.
not anything else. Well, there is other parts, but the one of the biggest things is that you build too fast and you don't have the infrastructure to sustain the growth. So I try to pull people back, and the quote or the whatever you want to call it, the idea is um, selling selling out the arena 5 times before you sell out the stadium. Selling out the arena 5 times before you sell the arena, and everybody wants to sell the arena. Everybody in the online world is like, I want this. I want to crush it. I want to have a webinar and boom. And or they have a webinar or a thingy and they make 20 grand or something, like, I'm in, like, let's go full force. I'm like, okay, that's not proven. It's the same as like when I was in real estate investing and some hero came and said, look at me, I just knocked it out of the park and I flipped this house and I made this. And the thing was, can you repeat that four
Yeah.
or 5 times? Can you repeat it, or was it just luck? And that's the thing, is we have to be real with ourselves. Is like, is this luck? Did I get lucky, or can it be proven? And you know, when I talk about Atlas, it's the same thing. It's like, hey, I crushed it on the first Atlas. This is amazing. But I also stood up and said, yeah, but those are dream clients. Those are people who know me.
Yeah.
And it was vanity metrics. And I made some good money and all this kind of stuff, but it was great. But I haven't proven anything, because all I proved was that, yeah, these people do love me. Let me go
Right.
bring it to people who don't know me and do it again and again and again and again. Right. And that's the thing.
Yeah, that is a huge thing, Joey, because so many people I've seen are like, okay, yeah, I want to do a webinar and I want to put it on Evergreen, and I just want to just do nothing. Well, how many times should I do the webinar? Well, probably 20 times. Figure it
Yeah.
out, get it
Live.
right. Make sure you do it live before, then you go do it. Unfortunately, there's so many people out there teaching that, yeah, do the webinar and do your video sequence and do that, and then go automate it. And then it doesn't work. And they're like, what happened? I spent all that money and I spent all that time and it didn't work.
Well, I just spoke to somebody today and broke my heart, because person's been at it for like, I don't know, 2 years or something. And um, major video production on a course built out with 30 videos, and nothing. Like
Yeah.
it was, and we're talking about major production. And
Oh,
even
yeah.
the video person said, yeah, we're going to really do this and we're going to da 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 da, and it's like nothing. And so now here we come trying to fix the problem, which I can fix the problem, but still,
Yeah.
I hear and see that every day of my life, and my purpose is to try to stop that, and
Well,
that's time that was invested that we can't get back. So this is why part of this conversation is, don't do that. Like, don't go put 2 years of your life into something and
well,
hoping for it.
it goes, Joey, to what we've been talking about the last few months is the don't spend all that time building the huge course and spending thousands and hundreds of hours in editing and this and video content if it's we don't know it's going to work yet. Instead of what you talk about, look, I'm thinking of doing this thing in a beta with this and these number of people. Are you in? Okay, great. Let's do this. Hey, that was great. Let me do it again. Then go out and build the whole big thing. And it goes back to Hormozy and $100 million offers, is spend the time and do it and help enough people, and then start to say, okay, how do I make it a little bit easier, a little bit easier, a little bit easier over time, rather than starting with that in the beginning, because
Right.
it's going to kill you.
With Losandro, like, what is it that you want to do? What are you good at doing? Because when it comes to like this piece right here, like inspiration in selling, don't sell. Like, take selling off of the plate. And I know that's counterintuitive for our business, because everybody's talking about selling and funnels and blah blah blah, but take selling off the plate. I'm telling you, that is, for me, one of the biggest secrets of growing the business was, this is not about selling today.
I mean,
And
Lissandro said in his first comment was, I think I have to go back to write poetry and research. And I know from the conversations we've had with Lissandro after in the past few weeks is he loves writing poetry and teaching people how to write poetry and research. And now he's getting into all of this content creation and social media posting, and that's not his wheelhouse. I was in one of the videos I created the other day. It was, what are you good at? What can you get done fast? Well, I can jump on and turn my webcam on and make a video fast. If I've got to do that same video in animation, I've got to add 2 hours to the process. And if I got to go find images and footage, I got to add 2 more hours to the process. And
Yeah,
if I'm
and he said he's going to take out selling. Thank you very much. But then what, if you want to build your tribe, let's help him with this. So
yeah,
like the tribe piece is pretty simple when you take out all of these other things. You don't have to, like, I don't know what you mean by creating content. So maybe you can give us a little bit more context there. And maybe I'll meet you one of these days on one of our live coaching calls. It'll be a lot easier to talk this out and I'll know more about you to help. But um, it's creating content. Like what content? If you're good at writing poetry and wanting to teach people that, then while you write it, you could either write it live with on a live, like you can combine the things, right? Like so this that we do on Tuesdays is a combination. We're broadcasting now to 5 different or 6 different areas at once. Then it's transcribed, which gives me years worth of stuff that I could write in an email. It gives me video. And so this is something that we do every Tuesday that is easy, that can be repurposed and saving time and all that other stuff. Um, so what is it for you, Lissandro? Like, can you go and write poetry and prove and show how great you are so that dream clients look at you and say, I want to write like that too?
yeah, Joey,
And
I'm going to go
that's
back
how you
to what
build the tribe.
yeah, I'm going to go back to what you're saying and what he's saying in a previous comment was write poetry and research. And I'll go to what you said. What if it was an over the shoulder? You turn on the camera and say, okay, today I'm going to show you how I research. I'm going to
Right.
write a little bit of poetry today. I'm going to show you how I come up with an idea or the thought or the verse. And it doesn't have to be this incredible production. It's as simple as turning the camera on and saying, okay, so today I'm going to show you how I do this. And
Right.
here's what I'm going to do. And I just showed you how to do this. Okay, I hope that helped. And that he's probably a natural at because he loves to write poetry and research. So teach your people how to do that. And as you said, people out there that want to write poetry are going to say, I like what this guy's talking about. And then he's not under pressure to be a character of joy and entertaining people and doing all that. He's doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
Like, I love getting on and talking about landing pages, funnels, sequences, copy. And I'll talk about that all day without having to do anything. And the same thing with you. You'll get on with people and teach them how, with the Atlas method, to grow a business without all the struggle and nonsense and crap. And so
Yeah.
when
I
we
was talking to my group today and was just sharing some great news that I got from, you know, Kajabi and all that today. And then they realized, like, so what do you do? Like, what are you doing? And I go, the same thing I talk about all the time, just dream clients and putting people on a spotlight and helping them get really clear. So like it never changes. It's always the same thing. And because of that, when you do that over and over again, people know you for that. Even the person today on the call, I it was about dream client connection, but they have no idea about all the other things. And again, this person had a lot of different things to teach, which is amazing. But it's like helping her focus on what's the one thing that you could just go out and do 4 times a year that would
yeah,
crush it and make you 6 figures. And it's like, oh, this. Well, then let's just do that.
yeah,
It was like, holy crap, this is so simple. We go, yeah, it's very simple. But because you want to teach all of this stuff, you're not selling anything.
right.
So same as Lissandro or anybody listening to this, because it's relevant for everybody, is just what's the one thing that's going to move the needle for your dream client, and just go and do that. And don't add anything in. Don't bring other stuff in, and worry about it all later. Just get yourself to a point where it's so repetitive. It's so I shouldn't say the word boring because it's not boring. It's it's easy for you, and I think we sometimes we have a mental block with that. I don't know. Like, this shouldn't be easy. This needs to be hard. If it's
Yeah.
not hard, that means I'm not growing. That's not a real business. I call BS on it. I believe that the easier it is for you, the better it is for your clients because you love it. It's easy for you, and you don't have to think about it, or you get up and you're um, energized to teach it, to do it. Just like you said, you could talk about landing pages and copy and all that stuff all day long.
Yeah. Was
Okay. I don't know what you had to learn. Oh, I don't know who this is, but thank you for that. Learning that was, I think, the hands and the brains thing. Um,
I'm looking. I had to learn that. I don't know. I don't know where that one came from because I
that's okay.
usually can see them, but that's okay.
Jin, if I delegate email sequence, I feel like I lose a chance to learn how to do it. Very good point. Do I not have to learn that? Which one do I have to learn for my business, and which one can I delegate? You, in my mind, you need to learn how to write some kind of copy, and I'll fight to the death for that one. Like, but it doesn't mean that you can't later on delegate. So you need to know if a marketer comes to you, or a copywriter comes to you, their job is to figure out everything about your market. And I know because I've done it. I've interviewed people like, okay, well, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this, when they could have done it themselves and saved themselves thousands and thousands of dollars of me sitting on the phone asking them interview questions. So make it easy for the copywriter. And a copywriter might be more of a copy editor at this point. It's like, here's the copy, make it shine for you. I believe you need to learn it. I don't know what you think, Scott.
Well, okay. I believe that I agree with you, Joey, that Jin needs to learn the copy bank languaging that needs to what words should be used, but actually how to write the email sequences. I think it's better off delegated to somebody who you can say, here's my audience, here's their problems, here's their languaging, here's what they're talking about. Go make this look pretty. And like you, I'll get on with somebody, I'll interview them for 2 hours and I'll get all the information I need, or I'll go find the information. But I think it's important that everybody knows what should be in the copy so that when an email sequence or a landing page or a sales letter gets written, at least they're like, okay, you're talking to my dream client instead of me making stuff up and you go, well, that sounds good. Well, you have to know the language of your dream client. And that goes to right marketing copy, and that goes to everything you teach in how do you find out that language. And if you have the language, that's what you need to do. But to write the actual sequences, I think somebody who is really good at it is going to bang it out much faster because they've done it a few hundred times.
Hmm. Yeah, there's valid points there. I still think that you have to learn the pieces of your business, same as a website, putting a website together, learning how to put Kajabi pages together, because I want to know that when I hire somebody and they're doing it, it's like, okay, well, that thing took me 10 hours and it took you 12, and you're supposed to be a professional. Hmm. Right. And like, I want to know. So I want to know the pieces of my business and then be able to delegate and say, well, I can see how you did that better than I did. That's just my personal opinion. I think that we need to do it all ourselves first and then go out and get somebody to amplify it. Same as running the ads and all that stuff is to, get your funnel working or your sales process working, and then go hire somebody who does it 1,000 times better than you.
I totally agree with that. Figure it out and then go get somebody. Again, with ads, I'm going to build the ads, I'm going to play with it, and then say, okay, you go figure it out. You're better than at it because I don't
It's not
want to.
figure it out. It's like to amplify it, right?
Yeah,
It's like this works.
right.
Go amplify this.
Yeah,
Like I told you, some of my friends are like top in their industry. One is in Facebook ads.
right,
And it's like, that's all he does is like, okay, what do you got? Oh, it's working. All I got to do is just go, and then I'll triple your business. Okay, give it to me.
right.
Like, that's that's what their job is. Their job is not to figure it out. That's where we waste time, money, and energy.
Yeah, agreed.
So great you are. Thank you very much, Collie. Um, Lissandro, I'm good at creating tools for writing poetry, and I help people to get deep in themselves and pull out poetry. So showcase that.
talk about that, write about that, video about that. And just like going back to what you said, Joey, become known as the Lissandro is the person that shows me how to create tools to write poetry and help people get deep into themselves to pull out the poetry. And that's
Yeah.
it. And that's
Yeah.
how I believe a tribe will be built.
Yeah. You're welcome, Petra. Jin, you just have to learn enough by the basics to see how the system works. So you could do it in case of need. But then you don't have to spend your time writing and sending automation up. Exactly. But you need to advise that person to provide them enough information to do the job. Exactly.
Exactly. Totally
Thank you for
agree.
validating that. That's exactly what I'm saying. You're amazing. I have to learn the basic at least. And by the way, Jin, like, I don't know what you mean by email sequences and stuff. I am not in the camp right now of building out all kinds of email sequences at the beginning. You do not need to do that. You could easily do this just by broadcasting, and you build out your email sequences, because in Atlas a lot of this comes up too, is like, what, I need to build out these sequences and all this stuff, and it's not true. It's like, you can start building your email sequences one at a time, because if you write one email a week, let's say, that becomes part of your email sequence. You write it, you send it, you take it, you put it into an email sequence now in the automation piece, and now 30 days later, guess what? You've got, whatever, 4 emails. That's, you got 4 emails because you've one a week. And
Joey,
in a year, it's what, 12, how many is that?
52.
52 emails. There you go.
And Joey, that kind of goes to the whole analysis paralysis, or, well, I got to have an email sequence with 7 emails. Okay. How long is it going to take to write 7 emails instead of, okay, let me just do a video or a landing page that gives you a gift of value. And then if you like this, shoot me an email and I'll give you something else that's cool. That's what you do. And then let me send you another email with something else cool. And that's it for right now. And then, you know what? I got this cool thing I want to share with you later on in the week. And then next week, I got another cool thing. It's what you do. And it's how you built what you built. And again, I've got your emails printed out and go in a binder because they're great.
Thanks,
and
man.
It's not an email. Yeah, you've got email sequences, but you never went and said, okay, I'm going to build this email sequence of 27 emails. You're like, I got this great idea today because I read this thing and I heard this thing, and I want to share it with you because it's appropriate to what we're talking about. And it's appropriate to what we're talking about today. If I write an email sequence and that's just evergreen, it's not appropriate to maybe what happened today. We talk on Tuesdays about what happened today with your client, with my client, with this situation, with that situation that was current today. An email sequence that we built 2 years ago, it may be okay and work, but it's not what's going to capture somebody's attention, because that's usually a sales sequence.
Mm-hmm. Anne says, when she was learning how to write emails, I asked the writer I liked to teach me how they should be constructed and then edit my work so that I could do it on my own if I wanted to. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Joey, that's what I know I do in a Word doc, in a Google Doc. I tell somebody, write some stuff down, and then we get on and I go, okay, let me show you what I'm going to do.
Right.
I end up doing it, but at least they see the process. And if they want to do it, it's recorded and it's there. Here's what I do this, and this.
Yeah.
So that was good. Thank you, Ann, for sharing that.
That's what I mean. That's kind of what I love to do, is copy edit more than copyright. It's like, let me fix the copy for you. You give me the idea, write down whatever comes to mind, and then I fix it. That's where I love to play.
Writing copy is tough. Editing copy is. I was on a call today, not Holly. It was after that, and I needed to advise somebody on their script that they did for a video, and I hadn't gotten to it, and I was a few minutes late to the call because I spent about 4 minutes rewriting the copy. That's all it took, because it was there, and you and I have done it enough that we can go, okay, this needs to be shorten this, tighten this up, and go with this.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Any other comments there? Yeah, it is easier to edit for sure. For sure. So back to our topic at hand, which is trying to do as little as possible and still grow your business 10x. The way that I do this is by picking the or top or two or three, maybe four things that you're good at and doing those consistently and saying no to a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
and it's counterintuitive, but if you just focus on a couple of hours a day, consistently doing the stuff that you're good at, which is not everything, which is Lissandro is writing poetry, turning on the video and broadcasting that, whatever it is, and focusing on the who that you could help easily
yeah,
in a short amount of time. And that will help you build your business because all you're doing is focusing on that who. And it always comes back to the dream client that we talk about here, right? Is like,
yeah.
who do I want to work with? If you're chasing the other parts of like I can do all of these things, that's probably why you're busy and there's a lot of busyness in your life and it's not productive. That would be one of my tips.
Agreed.
And
And Joey, just looking at a few of those in our tribe that were here tonight, and Lissandro finally said, I'm good at creating tools for writing poetry. Go for it. You nailed it with Holly. She now helping people with burnout. Talk about it. Anne helps people whose jobs really blow to find a new job. Talk about it. And if we just talk about what we're good at and what we know and focus on it, it becomes much easier. And then we spend 4% of our life focusing on that and not trying to be all things to all people.
yeah, exactly. And believe me that when you bring in the people with your 4%, no matter all the other things you can do, they will know because they are in your ecosystem. It's you don't have to give them the Chinese menu. Like just give them the one thing. That's it. And then when they come in and they're talking about how to build a landing page and they're like, "This is great. Thank you very much." They're going to ask. They're going to say, "What else? What do I do?" Or "Do you do this other thing or something else?" And if you happen to do that, you're like, "Yeah, I can help you with that too." So you don't have to broadcast this whole thing. If if you know the if you know the shark bite that they need, like if
Yeah, yeah.
that's
And
the what you bring them in with.
another example, Joey, and I admired you greatly for this. I had helped somebody, I spent about an hour with somebody getting clarity in their life because they were struggling. And it was just to fill my bucket and help them. And then they referred somebody to me who had a piece of real estate that was fully rented and they were not having success in selling it. And they were looking for some help and they were willing to pay somebody. And I was like, that ain't anywhere in my wheelhouse. And I reached out to you and said, bro, I know that. And you were like, no. It was immediate. You were like, no. Even though you probably could have said, well, yeah, I
Yeah.
know enough about real estate to be able to help them, this and that. And I probably could make, some money, a bunch of thousands of dollars. You were like, no. It wasn't even a conversation. And it was like, excellent. That was great.
Thanks.
You like, boom, because it was like that has nothing to do with dream clients. Sure, I know a lot about real estate, and sure, I've done this and that. I could probably help them, but why? Instead of Kajabi saying we've gotten the best metrics and the best response, because you're talking about go figure dream clients.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that I love to talk about and can share and
Yeah,
have passion and everything. So it's all aligned. And then that's what I mean is when I spoke to that person today, we talked about a lot of other areas of business, productivity, things that nobody really knows me for.
right.
But it's like, yes, I can help you with all of these other things, but right now, here's what your problem is.
Yeah,
And this is how you need to fix it. And then we'll talk about other things later. But I'm not worried about, and I used to do that. I used to say, well, geez, like, what am I going to be known for or be the authority on or whatever? Right. And because I was heavily into productivity. If you look back a couple of years ago and even my Facebook page, you'll see high performance coach and all these other things. Like I was going down that route and then copy and then like all these things. It's like, okay, well, what am I going to know for? What am I going to be known for? And it wasn't just that. It was more about who's the client first, like who's the person I want to work with, and what's their shark bite. What
Yeah.
what can I fix for them, and then all the things related to what I can do for them is just another extension once they're in my ecosystem. And I think that's the way to grow. I think that's the way that I grew, and not worried about all. And like I'm still pulling down stuff in my keep account, the freaking lead magnets and the sequence and the feeder sequences and all these things. Like, oh my god, like just slowly pulling them all down because it was like, no, put a lead magnet out a week and see which one works, and then I'm like, holy crap,
Yeah.
because I was there. I know what it feels like to be inundated with all of these things. When if I look at my top 10% of everything, the like the 1% is like that's what's working. Just focus on that. And going back to even Perry Marshall when he's talking about the 80/20 and all this, his top 10 customers got his 3 to 5% of his time. That's a large amount of time out of only 20% when you're
Right.
dedicating 3 to 5% on those customers. And the other ones we're just not even dealing with. So this is what we're talking about, is how do you split your time so
Yeah.
you're only dealing 4%
Yep.
of your time to build the business, right?
Fully agree. That's the way to do it. Follow Joey. He knows.
Yeah, right. My man, thank you again for another amazing conversation. Thank you everyone for being here live and on the replay. If you're here on the replay, hashtag live if you're here live as we're just ending this broadcast for another Tuesday night here on the Facebooks, the LinkedIns, the Twitters, and the YouTubes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the love, all the likes, and all that stuff. It is amazing to have you in our tribe. If you're not in our tribe, one more plug for the Facebook group. This is where we are. My friend Scott Vogel is in there. I am in there. Probably everybody who I've seen so far on this broadcast who've mentioned or made a comment is in that tribe as well. We have amazing humans there, and you can be a part of that if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur that just want to grow your business. Come and join us in there, and we'll see you next Tuesday night.